And I can only suppose that's it because people seem to really respond to the Jonah picture in particular. And when I made that, I was having such a bad time. I was having the worst time. And that seems to be what other people, they're like, I like that one. And I'm like, really? Because that's not, I mean, I've worked so hard on all these other things, but I think it's almost like the feeling came through or something. I don't know. I'm not really
Is
sure.
there in that image the as Jonah's falling into the whale, I remember his like arms, there's sort of this like it seems like there's a like body language of like acceptance of like a willful entering in the whale. Was that intentional? Like, is that how
Yeah, I
you?
mean, he does ask to be chucked over the side of the boat. And I
Mhm.
remember at the time thinking, this was kind of just after I'd had this psychedelic experience that I mentioned, and I remember writing something like all the time, kind of the same things like I have to let go, I have to let go, I have to let go. I need to surrender. I'm going down. Like this is definitely like a downward movement. And
Mhm.
resisting, it was like resisting is like it's not gonna work. It's just inevitable. So it's kind of like, sometimes you have to go with something because resisting is just it's worse,
Mhm.
even if it's really bad. So Um, yeah, so there's, I think the idea of surrender, I think is pretty crucial.
Mhm. Mhm.
I
Indeed.
actually read Jonah after the podcast I did with Emily. Like I hadn't read it in so long, and I didn't realize that he voluntarily went off the boat. You know, which,
Mhm.
like as you're pointing out right now, that's essential. He's surrendering, he's letting go, and yeah, he's willfully doing that, which I thought was cool, reflecting truth.
I think a lot about I think a lot about the story of Jonah with my I feel like for a while I've felt this calling, so to speak, that I never had peace not going after. And I feel like instead of thinking that I was running from it, I just was like, I just can't bear it now. I'm going to do it later. I'm going to do it later. And, and then I did that, for a while, for maybe, 2, 3 years. And, I realized that I thought a lot about sacrifice before I moved to Bali the first time, before I did psychedelics the first time. Nowadays, I've been thinking a lot about, okay, like what sacrifices are necessary for me to fall into my calling, and like if this is my calling, if this is the thing that God is asking of me, then the list of what I'm willing to sacrifice should be pretty comprehensive, should be just about everything.